Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to our talk show with Loretta, two ladies and a gentleman, called Everybody in the Family Matters. We're on every first Monday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time on KCEP 88.1 FM. We get to the ROOT by resolving our own troubles. Take a minute to add your 2 cents in by calling 702-647-3688. If we miss your call, please feel free to email me at loretta7@cox.net and I will follow up with you on our next show. We want to thank the manager, Mr. Craig Knight, his staff, and DJ Certified for this platform. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please introduce yourselves.
Well, hello once again, everybody, and welcome to our show called What is Your Purpose? Every first Monday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I want to thank our radio station, 88.1 KCEP's manager, Mr. Craig Knight, and all his staff, Ray, and all the rest of the DJ, Remix, and everybody else who has anything to do with being a part of this show happening. I want to thank God for another day, as I always do. So we are just blessed to be here for another show. And with no further ado, we do have a guest, a very special guest. I'm just so excited. I just can't wait for this topic and to discuss this topic with this guest that we have. And without any further ado, I'm going to have Miss Kim, which is my co-host, go ahead and introduce our guests.
Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Our special guest today is Mr. Ray Roberts, and our topic today is men and women's relationships. Now, we have a few key points here that we want to read or express from someone else's opinion, a man's opinion, but we want to have Ray on this show to kind of give us his perspective. And hopefully our second co-host or third co-host will be joining us, Mr. Dale DeGroat.
Yes.
All right, so let's start. You want to start with reading some of the key points about relationships that one of our guests that couldn't be here gave, and then maybe we can just have Ray touch on that.
Of course, why not?
Okay, so one of them is women. This is a man's perspective. So he's speaking about women and his perspective, and I guess his experience. And one of them is women focus on what they want, but don't respect what the man wants. Well, I'd like to, Loretta, how about you chime in? First of all, what's your view on that? And then we'll ask Ray what his view is. That's fine.
Well, the gentleman that gave us that point, I trusted him and because I know, first of all, he has been married and has experienced it. So I really wanted to find out what his perspective was of it, this subject. But what I think is that he has some good points. And I like to get the feedback because a lot of times we women don't know their perspective. And instead of us trying to ask them and communicate with them, we try to figure it out ourselves and we end up getting ourselves in trouble. So that's what I think.
Okay. Ray, what's your opinion on that?
Let me clarify. So he's stating that women focus on what they want opposed to what a man wants. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I think initially, in any part of a relationship, I think that's true on both sides. I think a man wants one thing when you walk into the relationship, and I think when a woman sees her prospective partner, she may be kind of looking for another thing when she looks at a prospective partner. I think during the course of the relationship, they have to kind of compromise on giving up certain things to make things work, because there's no way in the world you're going to walk in and see somebody say, yo, this is the person that's 100% what I want, and not expect to, hey, there's going to be some give and take. I think there's a Teddy Pendergrass song saying 70-30, not 25-40. He was that kind of 50 type of love. I think initially when you're kind of going into a relationship, you have to kind of be realistic, saying that, I'm not going to be 100, even though I may think I'm 100% perfect for every woman out there in the world. The realistic part is I have some faults, and my wife is going to have to accept my faults I have. It just as she may have some faults, I have to accept some faults that she may have to make things work. So yes, he might have been 100% true that the woman might had some expectations, but men, we have those same expectations for a woman as well.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I don't think you got in trouble with that one. That's pretty good.
exactly what I'm saying.
What was yours, Kim?
Well, I absolutely agree, but so to me, it's about everybody has their own idea and who they are, and to me, it's all about communication, and it's also all about compromise. And I think that is true of the men and the women. So I agree with Reggie, and I also agree with Ray.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the second one is not all women are meant to be in the type of relationship they seek, and they want to be married, but they are not marriage material from a man's perspective.
We'll let Ray go first this time.
We
What do you
put
think
on
about that, Ray?
You know what?
On the spot.
Something that my wife would say to me when my kids were dating certain young ladies, she would say, I'm not sure if there's a down south, you can't pick the shade tree that your child's gonna lay under. And I always say, well, what do you mean you can't pick? Well, not all women are marriage material, I guess, are that right partner for somebody, for yourself, or for that for your children. But then again, some men are not. I really feel, I'm not trying to play without getting my man card revoked here, but I really feel that yeah, guys, we're visual people. We see things on a different level. I think women are much more smarter, much more mature than men. It takes a while for a man to kind of get it right away. But I think women, some women are just not marriage material. I would truly agree with that. Yeah, they don't bring it to the table. But on that same aspect, there are a lot of brothers out there, that don't bring it to the table either. So it took me a while to get to the point where I'm at. I mean, I'm gonna come out and say this. I'm on my second marriage, but the first marriage, I wasn't the person who I am now. I had to learn what was the right thing to do. I had to go through that process. I had the bricks dropped on my head. All the things that my elders might have told me, it went through one ear and out the other. I may listen to my friends opposed to listen to my heart or to the relationship. I didn't want to communicate. I was always right. I didn't consider their feelings, whatever. So we went through the emotions because I wasn't ready to compromise or not listen. But that was a growing process. I wasn't mature enough. So
yes,
we all
absolutely.
at the point where we're not ready for a marriage. So when I have 4 boys, and when my oldest son told me that he's ready to get married, I asked him, "Are you sure you're ready to get married? I mean, it's not saying I want to get married. Are you ready to get married?"
Right.
And that was a conversation I asked him. I said, "Are you ready to kind of take on that responsibility? It's not a game, And we had that conversation about the steps of being married and what is being married all about. It's not perfect.
Absolutely.
Everybody thinks it's perfect. They're fooled. But it's fun having the ups and downs. I enjoy the ups and downs.
If you love each other.
Yes.
And I think everybody has their different idea of what marriage material is.
Right.
So, and that, hey, you could be different age groups, of course, have different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you want to have a lasting marriage, you have to be mature. It comes with wisdom. You have to have the wisdom and maturity.
Right. Definitely. Most definitely.
Yes. What do you think, Loretta?
Well, I think, first of all, I put myself in the situation, and I remember experiencing this before I got married, and I've been married 3 times now, and I think I got it right after 22 years. But I used to want a 10 when I'm a 5, but then I had to work my way up to being a 7, and I thought, okay, that's good enough, a 7. I could work with the 7, and I'm hoping my next one can work with the 7, which is the one I'm married to now. So so far it's working, but I think the biggest mistake that women make is we do not have ourselves all the way together when we come to the table, and we expect him to have more, and maybe because he's a man than we have. But I also experienced that if you start out mostly equal, like both of you have something to bring to the table, because sometimes you come to the table and one person don't have anything, and then the other one's carrying them. But if you have enough and fair amount enough to bring to the table, you can work together. But I will say I have a 3-rule thing even before I come to the table. I came to the table. These 3 things a man has to have, and he has to have all 3. And I say have to have, not 100%, but at least for me to start. Some God in his heart, some sense in his head, and some money in his pocket. I could work with all 3 of those things, but all 3 of them have to be there. And so in saying that, it's workable, and it is workable, and it worked for me.
Okay, okay.
So what do you think, Kim? I mean, as far as, go ahead.
Well, right now, I'm in the place where, in my life right now, I'm not really ready to jump out there as far as marriage material and all that right now. I'm just kind of being by myself, which is what I prefer to do right now, because these points that we're talking about, I have not really experienced that in my life. I've been married twice, and they didn't bring any of these things to the table as far as like sense, God. And well, we'll say they had money, they did have money in their pockets, but they didn't have God in their heart, and they didn't have sense.
Okay.
Okay. So that's my thought on that. I can't really speak on it too much right now. That's where I'm at in my life.
All right.
And then, so now the third one is, and I like to speak on this first of all, and I'm just speaking
Okay.
from my perspective. Okay.
Well, all this
It
is from
said-
our opinions. We're not doctors, so this is what
Yes.
we either experience or I know from experiencing, in my opinion. Yes.
So, and I'm gonna kind of keep it short, but number 3 is, don't try to change a man who likes being who and the way he is. And so, speaking from my perspective, is that's hard, because based on my experience, all I've ever met is their representative. So how do you know who this person is? You don't really find that out for at least 2 or 3 years. And then, then all of a sudden the woman's trying to change who you are and what you like to do. But if you had been honest in the beginning, when you came into the relationship, then maybe, you wouldn't think that way, that she's trying to change you.
Right.
Okay.
You have a
I'll go
thought
next,
on that,
and
Ray?
I'm gonna give you a break.
Well-
I'm gonna give you a break, Ray. I'm gonna give you some time to think about it. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Here's what I think. I think that women, we should listen to what men say when they talk to us, and a lot of times we don't, because we think we're going to change them within the time that we are with them. But so listen to what they say, because most of the time, whatever they say is pretty much what they mean, but still go by their actions. Because again, if you listen, and I've experienced this, they pretty much said how they act, but I didn't want to hear it and I didn't want to believe it. So I made a mistake and went into the marriage anyway. And I found out I should have listened to them, because they meant what they said when they told me what they said by their actions.
Yep.
And another thing, really quick, let me touch on that. I find the same thing is true for women in my experience. Now, the person sees me, a guy sees me, and I'm a good catch, I will say that. They want to catch me, they want to conquer me, they know how I am. I've always been upfront. I like certain things. I'm very vocal. Sometimes I might talk too much, but they that's not who they are. And then after a while they can't keep up that persona, and then they try to change me and who I am. That makes sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Your turn, Ray.
Well, it's funny. All these things that I'm hearing as growing up is kind of perfect time to kind of say this. You knew the person had stripes when you met them. You can't take the stripes off the zebra.
Okay.
Wait, we say that again. You can't do what with the zebra?
You knew the zebra had stripes when you met the zebra. So now you're in a relationship trying to take those stripes off the zebra.
Okay.
Trying to
love that.
who that zebra was. And whoever you were, if you were true and being honest in the relationship in the courtship part, you knew that you can't really kind of like a year or 2 years down the line kind of change that person, because if she's trying to, if you guys say, hey, she's trying to change me, whatever like that, well, then you weren't honest right in the very beginning, because if she knew you were up front, and now your true feeling person's coming out now, I can see why she's trying to trade you fit into that mold. We all go through changes. We all go through something like that. I think I've been very fortunate and very blessed. I know I had some issues. I love spending money. Savings account. Who needed a savings account? I'll get my paycheck and blow it away right away.
Make it, I spend it, huh?
Yeah, I was a spendaholic, I was like, well, I got to pay my bills on time. Wait, what do you mean? I had good money coming in, but my common sense wasn't 100% on point, as you say. I was lucky that I met somebody who had some maturity and some smarts. So she changed me in how I looked at things as a future wise, how I saved my money and how to grow. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I was not happy about it. I fought it left and right. And look, this is my money. You can't be telling me what to do with my money. But looking back at it now, I laugh at it. I was like, wow, I have a bank account. I have a 401k, retire. We're buying a third piece of property right now. And we were traveling around the world. It's like, but the young Ray, 25 years ago wasn't having that. So yeah, she's trying to change me. Yeah, she did change me. The change was for the good. And I tell my kids, I have 4 boys. I'll say that over that. My 4 boys are hard-headed. We're men. We're hard-headed. I don't think we listen distinctly right away. We have to listen to things several times before we truly get it. And that's just my opinion with my deal with my 4 boys. We don't get it right away. So by telling this over and over again, I think it takes a while for it to kind of sink in their head, saying, "Oh, Dad, hey, I see what you're saying." My son came to me the other day and said, "Dad, you know what? You are right." And I was like, "Dad, don't rub it in my face, but I'm just telling you were right, and that's all I'm going to say." And I was like, "Wow, you actually heard me." But we go through some processes. Men, like I said, men are not the smartest people in the world, in my opinion. I want to stress that, and we take some time to get to that point. And a good woman will try to change you for the better, to improve the both of your relationship, to help you both grow into something better.
Well, I do want to say this, Ray. So what I hear you say is that you learn from your mistakes, and now you are a better man, and you are a role model to your sons, and can be that because of the experience that you have, showing that what you're doing now works. Did I understand? Did I comprehend all that, Ray?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
right.
I like how you said it. I was like, yeah, that's me. No, but seriously, I think as a younger person, I was a fool. I thought I knew everything. I didn't want to listen to anybody. When I got into a relationship, my friends, "Oh man, don't listen to her. You're the man in a relationship." Hey, I let other people dictate how a relationship should be, and I look at my parents who were married for over 50 years. I didn't. You look at it as a role model. I guess sometimes as a younger kid, when you hear people giving you advice, it's blah 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 blah. But as you get older and mature, you kind of listen and say, you know what, that makes sense. That understands things better. Like I said, it's not, relationships are not perfect. I'll say that over again. But you learn from you learn from taking the wrong turn, and you make the other turn better.
Okay.
And I also want to add, like I said, having 4 boys is stressful, but to seeing things that you've gone through in life to kind of put them on that right path, and they're going to fall off it regardless if you tell them, but to see them kind of occasionally stay on that path, it makes me very proud. I have 2 of my older boys who are married, and I'm like, wow, who would have imagined that these 2 knuckleheads are married with good wives, and doing the right thing.
I love it, love it, love it. Before we go run out of time, I do want to go ahead and give the gentleman. So you read all 4 points, right, Kim?
I only read 3.
Okay, go. Okay, I'll wait till you finish, because I want to make sure I'm thinking before.
Let me hurry. And so number 4 is listening to girlfriends, versus grandma and elders and aunts. Girlfriends don't have enough experience to understanding men. That I 100% agree with. And then I'll quickly read number 5. Thinking relationships is more than sex. I didn't get that one. I'm so sorry. Let me look it up really quick.
I think we're running out of time. What we're going to do is we're going to hold off on 4 and 5. We might have to do that on another show, but those first 3, we're really good. And I want to thank. So the gentleman's name is Reginald Bullock. Like I said, I got his permission, so I do want to give him credit for giving us some points to talk about. But we got to close up the show because we're almost out of time. Ray, I want to thank you so much for being a participant in the last minute. Thank you. Thank you to be a man. Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
So we're going to pretty much have to sign off. Again, I want to thank 88.1 KCEP, DJ Remix. I want to thank the audience for participating and tuning in once again this week. Thank you, and you all be blessed.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Author, wife, mother of 6, grandmother of 28, and great-grandmother of 19, Loretta J. Womack's new book, The 10 Demandments, was written for families. The book offers inspiring and encouraging commandments, or demandments, that every wife, husband, and child should expect of each other and themselves, chronicling the promises, rules, and demands that every Christian household should follow. Womack's faith is the underlying current, and she reminds readers that God must come first in the lives of the faithful. By keeping God's commandments and maintaining accountability, every family member can maintain their relationship with God, their spouse, and their children. Now retired after 30 years with the same company, Womack is the founder of the Determined Grandmothers in Las Vegas, Nevada. The devil tried to use my daughter and I to take each other out of this world, but he can't have my family.
We gotta push back, 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 push back. We can leave it cold. You gotta wash your hands. You gotta rub evenly. You know it's time to take a stand. You gotta wash them thoroughly. So please don't touch your faces. Stay out of crowded places. Clean up all personal spaces to try to limit new cases. You gotta push back, 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 push back. You gotta push back, push back, push back, push back, push back, push back, push back. You gotta push back, push back. We can defeat Corona. We can defeat Corona.